Morning. Are you coming in then?
Welcome and good morning, and what a show we've got lined up for you today. We'll be celebrating 50 years, yes, 50 years of one of ITV's best loved soaps with Emmerdale star Olivia Bromley will be here. Yay! Looking forward to that one. Chef Lisa Goodwin-Allen and I will be exploring the Isle of Man on the latest leg of my food adventures. And we've got recipes on the way from the very talented Francesco Mazzei and the one and only Levi Roots as well. Both of them will be here. And don't miss this week's masterclass. We'll be teaching you everything you want to know about cooking steak. And that's not all, because I'm here with a true star of the Southwest food scene. It's a good mate of the show and a good mate of mine. It's Mr. Michael Keynes. But we're kicking things off today with a simple little soda bread that I'm going to serve with cured salmon and dill mayonnaise. But it's all about the spelt flour that I'm going to introduce you to in a second. But we've got on here this spelt flour, and the soda bread is really, really simple. You think of spelt flour, people think of sourdough, but you can do everything with this. That's the great thing of it. You can make cakes with it, Yorkshire pudding batter. That's the key to it. So you can. Then we're going to take a little bit of sugar here, a nice little pinch of salt. And then, of course, you've got the baking soda. That goes in here as well. And then the liquid form comes in the form of buttermilk in here. And I use a combination of buttermilk and milk. And what you want to end up with, if you mix the buttermilk in first, now this is where different types of flour, as you well know, absorb different amount of liquid. So rather than follow a recipe,
got to do it by feel.
Feel it. Yeah. That's the thing. I think a lot of people make the mistake when they're doing this kind of stuff is they look at the recipe and go, oh, well, that's the correct amount, put it in the oven, it's really dry.
Yeah.
So I think with this, what you want to do is just add a little bit of milk to bring this together as a nice little dough. Now, like I said, it's all about the spelt flour here. So hopefully, we don't even need the power of the internet for this. We could actually run a cable just over the hedge with that close, because we're literally going to go a couple of miles down the road to a farm just south of Basingstoke to speak to Katie Boylis and David Miller. I can see you guys there. It's the same cloud as what I've got above me as well. So welcome to the show.
We're very lucky it's not raining.
We're very lucky it's not raining as well. So first of all, tell me about what's so special about your spelt flour. Tell me how it all started, first of all.
Right, hand over to David for that.
Yeah, so we grow crops now under regenerative agriculture conditions, and we were trying to look just from our own perspective at whether a heritage variety of wheat would grow better than a modern variety of millet wheat, which is why we tried the spelt. Spelt is supposed to have a much better rooting system, so it's much more resilient to drought, to too much water. And so 4 years ago we started growing it, and we've been growing it ever since on an increase in acreage.
Is that because of the climate? I mean, obviously, I mean, the weather this year has not been great for you guys, but it must have helped moving that transition 4 years ago, has it?
Yeah, the transition to regenerative has been going on for us for now 8 years. So, and one of the key aspects is we produce a more resilient way of producing food. So we're not suffering the really big ups and downs of the climate that we're seeing at the moment with the really dry springs. And then traditionally we've been having very wet harvests as well, which has gone the opposite way this year.
Well, I know you've been witnessing that really with the growing that you've been doing down at the hotel, haven't you?
Yeah, I mean, the vines have really suffered. They've been really, really stressed with all this heat. But I think it's really interesting because regenerative farming is very much a topic at the moment. We're involved with a thing called Food for Change, and this year we're talking about regenerative farming and the way that these guys are farming should help over time.
So explain to us what it is. So David, what are you doing to the soil, or what are you not doing to the soil? That's the key to it, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's certain principles of regenerative farming, which the four main ones that we're following are really that we don't move any soil, so we don't cultivate, we don't plough, we just drill straight into the previous crop residue. We also grow a lot of cover crops, so anything that we're going to drill in the spring, we'll have a cover crop in that ground, and the principle of that is to keep a living root in the soil at all times, because that's beneficial to the soil biology. And we are growing a lot of different species as well, especially in the cover crops, and a wide rotation of other crops we're growing on the farm. So yeah, it's a lot of different things, but the focus is always on soil health. So understanding the biology within the soil and how we can enhance that biology to help plants look after their cells. So rather than having to put lots of chemicals on and lots of fertilizer on, we're now using much less of both of those.
Because fertilizer's gone stratospheric. And Kate, I mentioned the fact that you can use spelt flour for so many different other things. I mean, like I said, that's the thing. It's about getting the awareness out of it. It's not just for one specific thing. You can use it for everything.
Yeah, so I go out and about with the spelt, and I go to farm shops and I talk to people, and we talk to groups, and individuals come to the farm, and you know, part of the spelt is the regenerative journey as well. So they come hand in hand, and I'm finding that many people don't actually know about spelt. If they've heard the word spelt, they actually connect it with sourdough, as you said earlier. But in fact, what we want to do is encourage people to use it for absolutely everything, to substitute it for a normal flour that they would use every day. So our favourite is Yorkshire pudding. We get lots of response back on very, very light Yorkshire puddings. You can use it for cakes.
Here we go. You're stepping into my world now. Here we go.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Go on, carry on.
Most of the feedback is that it's when they use spelt flour, it's a really, really light product that comes out of it. And of course, it's got that, especially the wholemeal, has got that really nice, delicate, nutty background taste to it.
Yeah.
So that's really good for muffins, carrot cake, I don't know, all those sorts of things.
It is an amazing... I mean, what's amazing about this? It's almost looking at nature, and to go forward in our thinking, we've got to go backwards. You know, there is method in the madness that you're not ploughing. And I take it the key to all this is looking after the soil, is basically understanding about the more stuff that we take out of the soil, the more stuff we have to put in the soil, and it's a continuing process like that. Whereas so often if you leave it, and you just let nature do its thing, the balance will come in the end. Is that the best way to summarise it, that kind of stuff?
Absolutely right, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. The regenerative word is, we're not sustaining what we have, we're regenerating what we had 30, 40, 50, 100 years ago. So, but I think there's been a real issue with education for farmers, etc., where the soil hasn't really been taken into account as to the importance of it.
Yeah, very important.
It is. I mean, that's where it all comes out of, isn't
exactly.
it? All in the end.
The soil is so fundamentally... It's a bit like mob grazing. It's all of these various techniques. People understand what's going on with that important ecosystem beneath the ground is so important. And also, one thing about spelt I love is that we don't have to work it so hard, do we, when we make beautiful
when you're making things, that's the key to it. I've done this by hand. I mean, I've got the soda bread in the oven. I'm going to just recap what I've been doing, guys, as well, while you stood on the farm. But I've got a little bit of dill mayonnaise. Dill mayonnaise I made a save. Put egg yolks in there, a bit of mustard. I've basically just used a little bit of vegetable oil, lemon, some fresh dill, salt and pepper, that's it. Now for this mixture, which is over here. This is a cured salmon. I'm going to do this with the cured salmon. Really simple to make. It uses equal quantities sugar and salt. And you can use table salt, you can use sea salt, but either way, it's equal quantities of everything, like that. And you mix this all together. This is a really, really simple little cured dish that you can do. So you can just sprinkle that over the top. Now, you can be fancy with this. You can put juniper with it. You can put peppercorns. It's entirely up to you. But we just get a nice piece of salmon like this, usually with the skin on, because it'll protect it a little bit. Take a little bit more of the sugar and the salt over the top, like that. And then all you do is you cover it over. So you just cover it like that. Pop it in the fridge. You can wrap it up so it's nice and tight like that. Pop it in the fridge and leave that overnight, 24 hours, something like that. And then we've just got over here our salmon that's been in there. So the texture changes massively as well. If I just lift this off, my soda bread is cooking away nicely in there. And then we just lift this out and you'll see the texture. Look at how the colour changes of this.
Amazing.
And you just pop that into your bowl of, this is just cold water, and you're just washing off the remaining salt and the sugar off there. So you just wash that off like that in here. Use a cloth to pat it dry, Now, if I was making gravlax, you just put a little bit of Dijon mustard,
Dijon.
a little bit of Dijon mustard, and a touch of just a little bit of dill chopped on the top of it. But that's your cured salmon. So while that's in there, we'll go back to our farm, which is just around the corner as well. And I've got to say, I know you're not ploughing and everything else like that, but the minute I could see you, that was the minute I became very, very jealous of what's behind you.
We brought the drill just especially for you.
You've done that on purpose, because I don't know whether you know that, as well as a lover of cars, I am obsessed with tractors. Obsessed. I'm like a kid in a sweet shop with tractors. And you've got, I know what it is. Is that the anniversary edition or not? Sorry to be geeky.
No, bog standard.
Bog standard one.
Well, you're welcome to come and have a ride anytime.
I'm doing that. I'll be there this afternoon. I'm there. I'm done. Thank you very much. I will take that offer up, and I will be there in about an hour and a half, if that's all right. Once the show's finished.
That's absolutely fine.
Guys, I wish you best of luck with everything as well. The produce speaks for itself, like I said, but it's an interesting story that it all comes, like I said, it all comes from the soil. You're looking after the soil for the next generation, and it really shows in the product as well. So I wish you all the very best of luck with it. We'll see you at farmers market, shops and bits and pieces. Or, like I said, I'll see you in about an hour and a half.
Okay.
Make sure you put some
Thank you
diesel
very
in it.
much.
All right.
Bye-bye.
I love them. I love those. So look, we've got a nice little bit of cured salmon like that, and I mean, that's the great thing about this. Isn't it? You can
The
just
texture's just great. You can see. Of course, you can smoke that as well for smoked salmon. Put it in a smoker.
Yeah.
It's just so versatile, isn't it? Beautiful.
But the texture is so simple, and you get so much out of just what is a half side or a side of salmon, and then of course you've got your bread. Look.
Fantastic.
So you've got this. So you've got the bread, which we can just sit on the side. But it's cooked, you see, in a conventional oven, a good sort of 15 minutes, something like that. Nice hot oven, we'll cook that. But there you have your nice little bit of soda bread to go with it. Easy as that. And now you know where it all comes from, using that amazing spelt flour. Done. So I'll put a little bit of this on here, a little bit of the old salmon, a little bit of the old mayonnaise. It is a fascinating thing, that sort of, farming is it's an amazing subject to be involved in. And, you now, having had that sort of little insight into just 11 acres, what it takes to really do amazing farming. But the quality of it, you just think normal white flour, spelt flour, is fantastic, isn't it? So
and like you said, so light and
so quick.
delicious. And hardly any kneeling.
You just
effortless.
A bit like sourdough, very, very gentle touching with
Lovely.
it. Yes, perfect.
Salmon's delicious too.
There you go. Right, Michael, we're cooking for us later on in the show, doing some amazing scallops, and I'll be talking to Emmerdale star Olivia Bromley very shortly. But after the break, Chef Lisa Goodwin, Alan and I are heading off on a food adventure to the Isle of Man. I'll see you in a bit. Welcome back. Now, Chef Levi Roots will be cooking a little bit later on in the show, and I'll be laying on lunch for Emmerdale's Olivia Bromley very shortly. But before that, I'm here with Chef Michael Keynes, and I thought the two of us would take a look at some of the dishes you've been cooking at home. You're going to like this bit. First up, we've got a video from Alan Parkinson, who tried out James Tanner's recipe for street corn. Do you remember that? He cooked it on the show a few weeks ago on his best mate, Sam. Enjoying it? Just check this out. That dog is very, very happy. Look at that. That's pretty cool, that. And a big well done goes to Nikki Harper, who had a go at that muffalata I made on the show for Kim Wilde a while back. It's a great dish, that. I just think you can put anything in it.
Yeah, it's great. Look at that. Amazing.
There you go. And finally, we've got a photograph from Tony Bullen in California. In California, that's how far this show goes. Who wanted to show off his smoked pork ribs. It's pretty impressive stuff, that. No, you just know it's going to taste
That's
good.
going to be good.
Especially when you've been to America loads of times. They know how to cook on a barbecue.
They know how to barbecue like that.
Exactly, there you go. Do keep sending your pictures and videos coming in. We'd love to see what you've been inspired to cook at home or abroad or around the world. OK, it's time to take a look back at one of my favourite food adventures. And this week, me and chef Lisa Goodwin-Allen are heading across the Irish seas to sample the food scene on the Isle of Man. Amazing for seafood, by the way, as well, isn't it?
Yeah, incredible.
Amazing. Enjoy this one. Welcome back to my Islands to Highlands adventure. I'm on the Isle of Man with top chef Lisa Goodwin-Allen. This place is home to the legendary TT motorbike race, as well as a fantastic variety of food and drink. Meet Will Falls and Charlotte Traynor of the Apple Orphanage, a place where good things don't go to waste and great fruit juices are made, as Lisa is about to discover.
Hi, Will. How are you?
Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Welcome to Apple Orphanage.
Wow, this place looks amazing.
Thank you very much.
I hear you need a hand with the bramble picking.
Yeah, that'd be amazing. Yeah, do you want to come this way?
Yeah, absolutely. So tell me a little bit about this Apple Orphanage. Where did it all come about?
Well, we set it up just about 10 years ago now. We were going to plant up an orchard because we had this kind of big interest in making the drinks. And as we were chatting to people started offering us fruit to use. So we decided to really embrace that side of things. So we run a fruit exchange, and about 95% of the fruit we have at the moment comes from other people's gardens or orchards. And then we managed to utilise it.
So hence the orphanage, kind of thing, where the byproducts go. So it's kind of like an anti-waste thing as well, really.
Yeah, it
so
is.
You're using the whole of the product.
Yeah, and then like we're doing today, we'll forage for what bits and pieces we can as well. So we do a lot with kind of elderflowers, gorse flowers. Today we're trying bramble leaves. In some ways, it's not the most exciting kind of crops that grow on the island, but there's actually more interesting flavours than you might think. Cool, let me introduce you to Charlotte. She's made a head start on the bramble pick.
Hi, how are you?
Yeah, very well,
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Looks like you've been busy here, eh?
Yeah, I've been down here for a few hours picking brambles, but I think you're taking over now.
Absolutely. Put me to work.
Yeah, I'll leave you to it.
Thank you. Right.
So we're just looking for the younger leaves,
Yep.
avoiding any that have got the fruit buds on at the moment, and then
Yeah.
you should just be able to peel them away carefully.
Oh, OK. So if you were to try one of these leaves, what flavour would you get from it?
We should get kind of a fruity, curranty type of flavour, and then a tail end of an astringent kind of tannic quality. So, like we'd look for in a good quality cider or maybe a tea.
Right. What a beautiful view, though, to do it with.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
I suppose you can get lost down here. A little bit of music, picking away.
Yeah, I mean, if you choose the right weather, this is a fantastic way to spend your time. Cool, right. Looks like we've got enough to move on to the next stage of the process, if you're keen on joining me to see that as well.
Absolutely.
Brilliant. Grab these and off we go. Cool, here we are. Mandatory hygiene hat for you.
Brilliant.
OK, so Charlotte made a head start. OK, so we'll add in what we've gathered.
Right, yeah. So tell me a bit about the ingredients that you use to make the syrup.
So we've got 3 key ingredients, which is sugar. I suppose that really helps pull out the flavour. We've got lemons, which helps correct the pH so that we get more flavour extraction. The bramble leaves, and then the final thing we'll add in is a really hot water, so we kind of mix the whole thing around so that we get a really good infusion.
So from start to finish, how long will this process take?
So we'd usually try and infuse the leaves or flowers for at least 24 hours, but then we'll start kind of experimenting with kind of how we dilute it and what other additions we might make, kind of other fruits perhaps, before we get it into a drink. So it could be a couple of months before we actually have it in a bottle to drink.
Yeah.
OK, so Lisa, I think it's time we get you working.
Absolutely.
Here you go.
I've been allowed with a paddle.
So we want to just try and get all the sugar dissolved if we can.
So how many bottles of juice did you make in a year?
Last year on apple juice, we processed about 35 tonnes of apples that otherwise would have gone to waste. In apple juice, that was about 30,000 bottles.
Right, wow.
Right, I think we've got enough water there, so if you could turn that off again for me, that'd be great. Thank you.
Well, this is definitely thirsty work. I'm looking forward to trying these juices now.
Yeah, I think you've earned some drinks now, so we can leave this be. Right, we've set up a little tasting area for you here.
Nice.
There's the hats.
Go on, I'll let you choose your favourite.
As with the Apple Orphanage, we better go for an apple juice, and I've got the Blenheim Orange here.
So the Blenheim Orange is because it's that variety of apple.
Yeah.
The name of the variety.
So when we get enough of each type of apple, we'll separate them out and press them by themselves. And I'd say 9 times out of 10, that makes for a really interesting juice. So in this one, you should be able to pick out kind of like hints of walnut. And it is just that apple in there.
It's got that real zing to it as well. I must say, you've got some pretty incredible products here.
Thank you very much.
What a fantastic venture. This really is an island that continues to impress. A bit like my next biker-friendly dish. And I've also found some lovely local drink that's perfect to go with it. You see, this is one of the amazing things about doing trips like this. You never know what you're going to find. And I've just found this amazing couple, Foraging Vintners, Winery and Bar. Ooh. Who shook it up on the way here. But this is a little elderflower fizz. Do you know what? That's not bad. And so is this dish. You'll like this one. This is lamb two ways. It starts off with a sloppy Joe sauce. So the first thing we're going to do is just chop this up. So a little bit of shallot and nicely finely chop it. Right, oil. A little bit of veg oil. You can use butter for this if you want. The butter's coming later. So a bit of that, a little bit of green chilli. I don't know why people take the seeds out of chilies. And when you ask them, they go, I don't like it hot, Doreen. Well, what's the point of using chili in the first place? But a little bit of that. It's quite a simple little quick sauce, this. Now this, lamb mince. We throw the lamb mince in here and get that cooking. Bit of brown sugar. I like to use this sort of soft brown sugar, really, rather than the Demerara sugar. You get a nice bit of flavour. But this is the key to it. Chipotle chili paste, which is kind of a smoked dried pepper, but it's an amazing flavour to go well with this. Touch of vinegar, bit of white wine vinegar in here. And then to make this sticky, you do it two ways. The sugar's going to make it sticky as well. Soy and ketchup. The herbs that I'm going to put in here, a little bit of coriander, and a touch of mint. And then we leave that cooking for about 10 minutes, the same amount of time that it's going to take to cook our sausages. So I've got some wonderful lamb sausages over here. We're just going to pop these straight on the barbie, because this is a double whammy of lamb. See, this is a dish that the crew like to eat, you see. So much so, Johnny, who's on camera too, has got so excited he had to phone his mum for permission to eat this. Poor fella's put on a stone since he's joined us on this trip. But look at this, the sauce, just let it bubbling away. Now, what we're going to do is take the baguette to serve it in. We're going to cut that right down the middle. Open it all out. We're going to take some garlic butter. You spread that all in here. This, I just love food. What I love about TV programmes nowadays, everybody goes on about they invented this thing. This is just winging it, but this is proper food. Now, we're going to get some spring onions on here. We'll just colour this a little bit of oil. Nicely char-grilled a bit. Now, coriander, mint. Coriander goes in here, look. Sausages. See, the sun's just come out. Just as I'm doing this, just look at this. Oh, je t'aime, je t'aime. And then you take this sloppy Joe, look, and you pop it over the centre. I couldn't resist doing this. Like that. Our spring onions, we'll just take a few of them off and put a few of these over the top. And then finally, just finally, because we haven't finished it enough, you get these crispy onions. You see, and there you have it. There is no finer plate or board of food currently on the Isle of Man than that. How you eat it, I've got no idea. That's Johnny. So after Johnny takes a few lovely shots of this finished feast, and now with me on his camera and permission from his mum, of course, he dives in.
Johnny, you going to phone your mum back?
I'm going to give her a call. Mum.
See, this crew really likes to eat. And if you think you apologise, you might as well ask him, because he's still here now. He keeps following me around everywhere, Johnny, the main man. Right, now Michael and I will be cooking for you a little bit later on in the show. And we've got recipes on the way from Francesco Mazzi, who's cooking this amazing pizza, apparently. Apparently it's the greatest pizza in the UK, bar none.
Brilliant.
Better than the Italians, apparently.
Well, he is Italian.
I know, exactly. That's, well, he's really from Watford, to be honest with you. But anyway, that's another story. And we've got Levi Roots joining us as well. But see you in a couple of minutes when I'll be cooking for Emmerdale star Olivia Bromley. I'll see you in a bit. Welcome back. Now, coming up, we've got a steak masterclass, and chefs Francesco Mazzi and Michael Keynes will be in the kitchen very shortly. But first, swapping Yorkshire for Hampshire is the Emmerdale actress who's celebrating 50 years of the famous soap this month. Not actually in 50 years of the soap is. It's the brilliant Olivia Bromley! But having said that, your party's so big, you're probably still going to be in it in 50 years' time. You don't know what you're signing yourself up to, really.
I know. It's amazing. I mean, I can't believe they managed to keep the stories going for 50 years.
It's lovely to see you out of, dare I say, out of Yorkshire, but out and about, because...
I know.
Yeah.
Out of my...
It's a bit... Well, we've got to say, it's 50-odd years, so the whole crew are running, I presume, all around the country, really.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's been a massive kind of stunt week that we've been filming this month. And it's really exciting, like, loads to celebrate, a lot of destruction, a lot of, like, crazy drama to come. So, yeah, it's been really good.
We'll talk about it in a minute, but I just want to say, I'm just going to cook you a nice little pasta dish. So you've come a long way, so we're going to do some clams, some mussels, some fish, a nice just little seafood sort of pasta, fresh pasta, which I've got in here. Takes about 4 minutes to cook. Just going to make a classic pasta sauce over here. We've got a little bit of really good quality olive oil. That's going to go in there. The garlic's going to go in. I'm going to take some fresh basil. We're going to put that in as well. And start to wilt that all down with a can of tomatoes. That's going to go in there. Just start to bring this all down into a nice little sauce. And then I'm going to start cooking the mussels and the clams and everything else in there. Now, I mentioned the fact it's a big storyline for you, but when you first started this, you thought it was only going to be for, what, a couple of months, that kind of stuff?
Yeah. So it was my first telly job, and I think I was offered about 12 EPs.
Right.
Which I was thrilled about, and I kind of knew a little bit about the part and stuff. And then they asked me to come back for a little bit more, and I haven't left.
And then to give you a part like what you've got, because, you know, go into a storyline that, you know, an addict, drug addict, you know, I mean, Emmerdale's seen it all, really, but the part that you play, that's quite a big responsibility.
It is. It was challenging, and I think, like I said, I didn't think it would last this long, but then the writers kind of made this incredible backstory for this character. So it's only 12 episodes, and they wrote this fab backstory that was just really cool to play, really interesting. I mean, she was searching for her child who'd been taken into care. She was trying to get clean off drugs. So as an actor, that was kind of like such a gift to be given. And then it continued.
Do you get to play around with the character, or is it one of those things where, you know, you've got your part, now you're going to stick with it, or you only get to play around with that part after you've been in there and stood the test of time, if that makes sense? Or is it something you can work with the writers and play around with it a little bit?
Yeah, I think it's a very two-way relationship, actually, because I suppose they write something for you, and then if you're not meant to stay very long, you kind of bring your...
Well, you weren't supposed to say very
you dig in,
yes.
You don't want to leave.
Yeah.
But you bring your interpretation of the character, I suppose, and then that feeds into their writing. And so it is a very two-way relationship, and I think sometimes you do have a bit of control about the way that you see the character, because fundamentally, if you play a character for a long time, they become a bit of a part of you. And I'm very protective of my character Dawn now, and I think everyone becomes like that if you're in a soap for a while, because you're playing them every day.
Now, I didn't realise until I was reading a lot about you yesterday. I feel like if there's a mastermind thing, I reckon I could do pretty well about you guys and the whole of the Emmerdale cast as well. But the music thing is a big love of all of you.
Yeah.
Is that right? You play the piano, the violin, sing, band?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think...
all the cast.
Well, I mean, I'm sure there's some people
most of it,
but a surprising amount of people do. You know, we have this Emmerdale band, and various cast members kind of swap in and swap out for charity events. So we've had some... I think they did a big one recently in York at the Theatre Royal. But, I mean, so many people just have a kind of a secret skill. So they get someone on... I think... Paddy plays the mandolin and various things like that. So So it's nice, everyone gets involved, really, yeah.
Right, look, we've got the mussels over here with the clams and everything's cooking away. Now, the most important bit of this is you want to finish the cooking of the pasta into this as well. So I guess there's not much you can give away on the big storyline, but I'm always intrigued with stuff like that. How, because it is a big crew. So if you take everybody that's associated with it, you know, hundreds of people associated with it, I'm always intrigued of how they keep it all quiet and how somebody hasn't let it out of the bag.
I think there's always rumours on set. That's the funny thing. I feel like somehow something trickles down onto set and you go, hang on, we've heard this, and you never know quite what's true until you get your script. And getting your script's kind of like Christmas because you find out really what's happening. So yeah, I think there's often rumours about crazy stuff that's about to happen.
Right, look, we've got our pasta over here. Look, we grab this, and now we're going to add it to our mussels or everything else. And the key to this is keep some of the water because you want some of this pasta water as well. But grab your pasta, and you take all that, and you want to cook the pasta in the sauce. So we cooked it in the water, but you actually physically cook this pasta now with everything else in here. So you're starting to so really you're getting all the flavour into the pasta as well. It's so many times you do this and you just dollop the sauce on top of the pasta and everything else like that. But you just bring it all together like that. And then we're going to gradually cook this. Probably what takes about another minute, which gives us enough time to see you and the entire cast in action because we've got a little clip. We're not going to give everything away, but just a little clip. Enjoy this one.
Can't wait.
For what?
Dan's taking me out for dinner tonight.
Tasty menu.
Nice, lucky you.
Oh, lucky me. See you later.
See ya.
Right. I'm not going to paint this any way different to what it is.
Sounds ominous.
Yeah. And I wanted to tell you last night, but you're working late. I might regret this, but I've said I'll go to the wedding.
Oh, that's great. You and Kim working things out then?
I've told Dad I won't say the things I want to say quite as often. You're invited too.
Me?
I know it might be awkward.
That's lovely. Very thoughtful.
I think Kim's trying to bury the hatchet.
Which is a good thing.
Great. She usually wants to bury it in people's heads.
Right, we're looking forward to this. So, look, you've got the little bit of fresh pasta in here. And the great thing about, look, the fish is cooked. No more than about a minute is all it wants in there. A little bit of basil, salt and pepper, like this, over the top, like this. See, I'm so excited about you coming down here, because you don't often get to do these sort of shows, do you? And
No.
It's all, yeah, this is where you get to sit and relax and talk about yourself as well.
I know, and I get fed. It's amazing.
And you get fed as well. Look, we're just going to take that on here. Now, I would just serve it in a pan like that, which is ace, but you can grab some of this with the pasta.
Yum, it looks incredible.
Look at this.
Yeah.
With the pasta and the fish just, look at that. That's all you need, really.
Delicious, yeah.
So a little bit of that over there, a few more mussels, bit of that over the top. And then, just to finish this off, nice little drizzle of olive oil over the top. And then what I like to do, I need a little sort of fishy pasta like this. Rather than put sort of cheese on it, you can put Parmesan on it, but a little bit of lemon zest.
Oh, nice.
Over the end. They put a little bit of targar on as well. The smoked cod roe, that's what a lot of chefs would do, but a little bit of lemon over the top. And there you have it. So my version of a lovely shellfish pasta.
Oh, fantastic.
Easy as that. Dish number one.
Incredible.
Done. Bon appetit. This is how it starts.
Thank you so much.
That's all right. Welcome to the house.
Thank you. You know when you're not meant to order pasta on a date?
Are we on a date? I thought you were coming in. I thought you were coming here to promote Emmerdale, but
I was trying to
Olivia, fill your boots.
this glamorously. Thank you so much.
You get a candle. Happy with that?
Amazing. Amazing.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Right. Now we're treated to Olivia for her second course on our date of slow-cooked chicken a little bit later on in the show. And a missable masterclass of steak coming up shortly. But join me again after the break when we speak to genius chef Francesco Mazze. Keep him away from you, definitely. We'll be sharing the secret of the perfect pizza. See you in a bit. Welcome back. Now, I'll be cooking sirloin steak with maître d'hôtel butter in this week's little masterclass, and I'll be cooking a spot of lunch for Emmerdale's Olivia Bromley a little bit later. But first, I'm here with a chef. In fact, a gaggle of chefs, to be honest with you. But one in particular has been bragging for years about how good his pizza is. So today, he's going to put his money where his mouth is. Please welcome to the show and the house. It's the brilliant, the multi-talented, the genius, Mr. Francesco Mazze. And before we start, the reason why your pizza is so good is the person next to you.
Exactly, because Giuseppe's here. You know, he does pizza with me since 11 years. You know, I cannot even touch the pizza because I will go back to the rest as a chef. Come on, it's not the way we do pizza here. So that's why Giuseppe's with us.
So Giuseppe's going to make these pizzas with you. What's the secret of a good pizza?
The secret of a good pizza is to keep it simple. So we made the dough as well for you, and the four ingredients that make one of the most famous, iconic Italian dish ever.
Yeah.
This is the pizza dough, which is 80% strong flour. Am I right?
20%. Am I right?
Am I right? Because the pizza comes from Chicago, you know that?
Yeah.
It's not true. So 80% of strong flour, 20% of soft flour, and water, and this tiny little bit of yeast, but it needs proving. Proving is the key for the pizza, from 48 to 72 hours.
Right, so it's like a slow proof in the fridge.
Slow proving in the fridge, and before you bake, of course, it has to be out of the fridge and stay around room temperature, like 18, 20 degrees before it goes to the oven.
Okay, so
and
that's
the
that.
key.
And then we're going to cook it. I mean, you've got your wood-fired oven as well.
Yeah, I mean, actually, it's beautiful to have a proper wood oven because it also gives the fantastic flavour on it.
Because I know Giuseppe's been working away on the pizza oven to make sure it's absolutely perfect, to make sure that the heat's in the bottom. So do you want to do your thing,
since last night, actually.
Exactly. Do you want to do your thing? Off you go.
Go, Giuseppe, just put the pizza down and we talk about the ingredient here, right? Because we got something very interesting here.
So tell me about the topping of it. Well, first of all, where does pizza come from, first of all?
Naples.
Yeah.
Naples, yeah? People say it's from Manchester, but it's from Naples.
People say it's from
But it's from
Manchester.
Naples. Pizza Margherita was the first pizza invented for the Regina Margherita, which is the classic one, tomato, mozzarella, and basil.
And it's interesting enough, it's not really buffalo mozzarella.
No, it's fior di latte. It's basically this baby here. Okay,
it's cow's milk mozzarella.
Cow milk, 100%. And this is the buffalo mozzarella, which you will see the difference. I mean, you can put this one on pizza as well if you wanted to, but this is not the real deal. Real deal has to be fior di latte. For two reasons. It's less acidic, and is also...
You're doing this, Nate. It's going to be like a generation game. Look at this.
Have you seen that? Yeah? That's the real deal. So, okay, so we basically do... I mean, this was what we call base bianca, white base, without any tomato. So fior di latte, then the blue
So
cheese.
is this traditional one at this time of the year?
No, is this one we invented with Giuseppe for... is in our menu at Radici, the pizzeria restaurant we have in Islington. And again, there's no tomato involved at all. But as you can see...
What have you... The gorgonzola, what you've just put...
Just put on
Parmesan on there or what?
Yeah, a bit of Parmesan, yeah. He did put, not me, because he's the expert.
Okay.
There it is. It is. This way is here. Yeah? So, a bit of spinach here, a drop of olive oil, and it's going to be in the oven. And then we'll show you how quick it is.
With these in it?
Can I just say, I went to a restaurant, San Michele, I think it was in Naples, and I'm witnessing the same thing. So we had a
Da Michele. Da Michele.
That was what it was?
Yes.
We had a gentleman in his 80s who was sort of the equivalent of sort of the Italian version of Brian Turner, reading the Racing Post and having a cigarette in the middle of the kitchen, and he would basically top the mixture.
Yeah.
And everybody else would run around after him.
And you know why? Because sometimes you go, when you say 200 pizza in about half an hour, you need to have 2 pizza topping and 2 put it in, and then you in and out, in and out.
Yeah, I noticed I was just finishing off the job that you did. You're making it look nicer.
No, because he's the expert. I'm pretending he can do pizza, but he's the one.
So the key to it, obviously, with wood-fired oven is the base.
Is the base, but it's a combination of both. But the base has to give the power to, you know, the last thing you want is when the pizza comes out and then it's very mud in the middle, you know, too watery. That's not what you want. So the base makes sure that it's nice and got a little bit of crispiness underneath, but not too much.
Right.
Because pizza napoletana is not famous to be crispy. But it's famous to be quite soft around. Then there is pizza romana, which is a bit different. It's very, very crispy. But we're talking about the real deal here now. That's the pizza should be. And of course, because I want my calabrese feeling to the pizza, I've got some Induja for you, James.
Okay.
But,
so this is the first. We're going to make another pizza in a minute.
oh, yeah. We do the classic margherita after this.
Okay.
Which Giuseppe will do by himself.
Right.
Because the only thing he can do, really.
Okay, so where does tell us about this Nduja and the other stuff you're going to put in.
Well, Duja, as you know, is from Calabria, a soft saloon which you can find basically everywhere now. And then Grana Padano cheese, which is for me very, very, very good Parmigiano, hazelnuts. And then we can play around with a bit of culatello. And I really want you both to try the difference between the fior di latte and
so the buffalo
mozzarella. You see the different consistency.
And the reason for the use of the cow's milk mozzarella is because the
less water,
moisture content.
Yeah, and also less expensive.
Yeah.
You know, if you go to Naples, you still buy a margherita for £4.
Yeah.
€4, €4.5.
You'd never do it with buffalo mozzarella.
No, you never. You go up to already £8-10. But the great thing about this mozzarella is, look
at the texture. Wow. Oh, look at the milk. Yeah.
I mean, look at that.
Yeah.
This is, I mean, now, sorry, I did touch this by hands, but you guys should try a bit. If you don't mind, chef fans.
Thank you.
We're all chatting away. All the hard work's going on behind us that we've got on over
Let's
here.
have fun, guys. When you talk about pizza, it's like party time, you know? So Giuseppe does the job and we'll eat it.
Very good.
And now, if you can, try the difference on this one.
So that's buffalo mozzarella?
That's buffalo. Mozzarella can be quite chewy.
Yeah.
We know when they say, oh, a nice and soft buffalo mozzarella. That's burrata, man. Buffalo mozzarella has to be chewy. Fior di latte has to be softer. So always remember that.
It's sweeter as well, isn't it?
It's sweeter. And also the key, it never goes through the fridge.
Ah.
When they make mozzarella, stays outside, it never touches the fridge. Wow. Okay. So, yeah, I mean,
you can tell it.
Look underneath.
Yeah, beautiful.
I don't know if you can see, guys. That's the way it should be. Okay? And then what you do...
I'll let you make another one.
Yeah. This is basically...
So this is one of them.
Ane and Duja together. So it gives the balance with the...
Honey and...
Ane and Duja, yeah.
Right.
Because it gives the balance with the blue cheese, if you see what I mean.
I was going to get told off then. I was going to use a knife. He's got a cutter.
Oh, it smells delicious, doesn't it?
I mean, look at this.
That looks impressive, doesn't it? Can I put it? Can I put it there? And I know you want to get on and do another one, so
Yeah,
I'll let you do something. Let you do the margarita.
The margherita one, yeah.
Go on. I know you want to taste a little bit, Michael. So I'll let you.
I'm allowed.
Yeah, you can taste a little bit of that one. There you go. But meanwhile, we've got this one. So what have you made? What have you made the tomato base out of then? What?
It's just tomato, olive oil, garlic, and a bit of oregano. But we don't cook the tomato. Another key element is you do the tomato, you marinate the tomato overnight. That's what you do. Okay? And then you use it the day after. Don't cook tomato because it's going to be too thick. It becomes like a passata di pomodoro, which you don't want it that. Yeah. You see how light it is? This the key.
Very light.
The lightness is very important.
Yeah, honey and Andreas.
So we haven't even mentioned your restaurants yet. So tell us about your restaurants then, because you've got the fine dining, but you've got
I've got the fine dining, which is Sartoria in Savile Row, which is thank God crazy busy now.
Right.
Because it looks like everyone wants to be that part of London now.
Yeah.
Which is great. But London is back to normal, and yeah, we are very happy for. I like the technique with your.
I love how it's.
I've never seen these
look
before.
at that. This second.
Oh my God! Oh wow! And that's the classic margherita.
Yeah. And if people want to replicate this at home, obviously, without the pizza oven, trying to do this in an oven.
Yeah.
I take it pizza stone.
Well, there is a trick. There is pizza stone, but again, it's a bit difficult to do. So what I suggest if it is at home is make sure I mean, a normal oven at home gets up to 50 to 60. So we do make sure the oven is very full, very high.
Yeah.
When it gets for half an hour, when it gets to the right temperature, when you do pizza wrap, put the pizza on the bottom for the first 3 or 4 minutes, and then it goes straight up to the top of the last 3 or 4 minutes, and then you go something which is similar to this. It will never be the same because you need for this kind of dough you need about 350, 380. But like this, you go an okay results. That's what I do home for the kids. But of course, I've got one of the stone now. Yeah. Even if I do my sourdough and stuff during the pandemic. We all get organised about that.
But I mean, you mentioned that saying about how many people it takes to make pizza in a restaurant. You're going to need 4 people. Right?
You need 4 people. I mean, in a good night, Radici.
One person, I'm presuming, is just going to be doing this.
Doing this.
Nothing else. Just
no, but also because when you go now, he's got 1 pizza.
Yeah.
But sometimes he's got 6 pizza.
Yeah.
And you have to be around to do it. We got a small pail, which is this one, the small one, which it helps to twist the pizza because he always cooks from that area, so from that part. So you have to keep moving. Imagine 6 pizza in the oven.
And if anybody wants to replicate this in terms of the, because I think the dough is the important bit.
It's the key. It's the key if you ask me.
The dough is this. If anybody do want to replicate this, you mentioned the fact of the flour.
Yeah.
What flour would they buy for this?
They need to buy strong flour. Manitoba will do, for example. 80% Manitoba and 20% like 00 flour, which you not find everywhere. If not plain flour, but if you can, 00 works.
Yeah.
And then you need 1 gram of yeast per liter of water as well.
Yeah.
And that's the margherita here.
There you go. Looks amazing. This.
Some more olive oil, Giuseppe. And you know, you look when the pizza's rustic like this, it's just another level, I think.
Lovely.
Okay.
And I'm assuming, is there a divide in who makes the best pizzas in Italy? They've got to be in there.
There's always. You know,
or is it always just Naples and that's it?
Come on, this is Italy. No, we never agree on anything. So come on. I'm still fighting where the tiramisu is from. This is from Veneto, by the way.
Well, you got
but, yeah, but come on. And look at
try
that.
this.
Yeah, you should try that.
And it's cooked, like you say, cooked all the way underneath.
Pizza napoletana, pizza verace is UNESCO heritage as well, so it's definitely Naples.
Yeah.
That's what this kind of pizza comes from. And
The cost of the tomatoes, cost of the mozzarella.
Yeah, because tomato, mozzarella, and the dough. And people say sometimes, I'm not 100% sure on that. They use seawater to prove the pizza as well, but I wouldn't trust that. But hey, that's where
That's where the Italians start arguing, don't they?
Yeah, exactly. The seawater, right? That's what we're
Bit of a lovely story.
I have to say, the flavour though is just.
Yeah. Try the margherita, Michael. It's just.
Yeah,
That's too big. Come on, I'll try this one.
It's brilliant.
Very hot. So light.
It's light. It's fantastic. It's not heavy, and it's not stuffed crust, Johnny. That is absolutely delicious.
It's simple things. That's why I believe Italian cooking sometimes is so good, because 3 ingredients you make a lovely stuff. It's about like spaghetti pomodoro, simple things, but that's what we call in Italy happy food. Simple, but everyone will love it. Family, friends, party, and that's what it is. Again,
all you need is a wood-fired pizza oven, Francesco Mazzei, and Giuseppe, everybody!
Yay!
Right, Chef Levi Roots will be cooking for us a little bit later. We've got a masterclass in sirloin steak coming your way very shortly. But don't go anywhere, because after the break, Michael will be serving up an amazing dish of scallops. He's off. I'll see you after the break. Welcome back. Now we're teaching you everything you want to know about cooking steak in this week's little masterclass, and I'll be serving up a show-stopping Middle Eastern chicken for Olivia Bromley a little bit later. But first, from Livingston Manor, on the ex-estuary comes a chef who's serving up some of the Southwest's most stunning food. It's the brilliant Mr. Michael Keynes. You just happen to have Francesco Mazzei with us as well.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
Fabulous.
So on the menu is what, Chef? What are you going to do?
So we're going to do a pan-roasted Orkney scallop with a seaweed and cereal puree, and we're going to do that with a lovely sort of beurre blanc. It's a butter sauce, but we're going to make it with vermouth. So we've got some.
So you want to get that on first?
Yeah, we're going to get that going straight away, because that's going to take a little bit of time to reduce. So I think I've got it on.
I'll man the stuff for
Exactly. Last time I think I nearly burnt the place down. There we go. So here's scallops. Easy way to open them up. You can make sure your knife is up the top, all the way through. Nice clean effect, and then like that. You're going to wash off, and then all you've got to do is take a spoon. Actually, you can take that out, James.
Yeah, I'll do that.
With a spoon. And we have our scallop, which is absolutely stunning.
And where are the scallops from, Michael?
These are Orkney, so you can get them
beautiful.
Beautifully this time of year. They're absolutely fantastic. So plump.
When everybody talks about cold waters for seafood and scallops, do you have scallops like that big as that in?
No.
No, nothing like
We've
that.
got a small one in south of Italy called San Giacomo, which is San Jacques, really, but small one. Not as big as this.
Like the ones you get in the Isle of Man, I suppose.
Yeah,
those
quite
ones,
small.
Yeah.
These are nice cold water. This side, I mean, that is extraordinary side. So this is the pappardelle, which I'm just going to chop. Now the reduction is down, what we're going to do is going to add our fish stock.
Right.
And also, we've got some cream. And we'll add that now, and then we're just going to let this reduce. And then in a minute, I'll pass that off, and we'll...
So you want me to reduce that, and I'll bring that down and pass it off, okay?
So what we do is we'll pass that off a little bit prematurely, but I'm not worried about that. In the meantime, I saw the show. I am watching the show, James. Right. Saw you talking to Martin about his Slerek, and he said, "How do you make yours?" Well, I put mine in a bag with a little bit of cream, and I bring that to the boil, and I cook it under sous vide.
In the bag?
Yeah, and then I blend it. And here to finish, what I've got is just a little bit of seaweed vinegar. Right. And all I've done for that seaweed vinegar is to infuse some seaweed into some white wine. And I'm going to season that with some nori powder. And we're just going to warm that through, a touch of cream to finish. And then what we do, we'll put that in a bottle, and I'll pass off the sauce.
OK, I'll do that. So that's done.
Then I'll finish the sauce, and then I'll pan fry the scallops. So to finish the sauce, all I'm going to do is keep the reduction going. First of all,
I love it when he's working. He turns into chef mode, doesn't he?
Yeah.
So, and then now, carrying on the reduction, I've got a little bit of saffron. I think, oh, excuse me, saffron's good, but I don't want too much. I'm going to add a little bit of saffron to this. So a little bit of saffron strand.
People can overload it with too much of that.
Yeah, it becomes
too strong.
Really does. And I don't mind a little bit of the texture of the strands in there. That's not a problem. I'm going to Montiel burr it. We do love to add a bit of butter to things. So we're going to keep this reducing down, and then I've got my chopped seaweed, which I've got here, going in, and also some of the powdered seaweed.
But it's not just Lympstone you got. Tell us about the other places you got, because last time you were on, you just opened Mickey's.
Yeah, Mickey's Beach down in Exmouth, going really well.
Yeah.
Then we've got Porthleathen. We have a restaurant down there in Cornwall, and of course Lympstone Manor. We've got some shepherd huts as well. We opened a pool house this year.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw you get photographs from chefs' mates, and Mr. Paul Ainsworth was down there in his speedos, which you don't really want to see.
But yeah.
Come on, he looked right. I saw the photo. Looked fine. Yeah.
You don't really want to see.
He was celebrating.
Did he send you the photograph as well?
No, not yet. I'm planning to go.
So, yes, it was...
Cornwall is really booming, I'd say, yeah? I mean, after the weather we had this summer is absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, it's been good. I mean, not as busy as last year, but other people going abroad, but we're not going to complain, and nobody listens anyway, so we're all in the same club. We've all got problems with staff and all the rest of it.
I'll sort out the stuff for you.
Brilliant. So what I'm ready to do now is to worry about these lovely scallops. Now, these scallops are absolutely sensational.
Unbelievable. Oh, really, really.
I mean, it is a privilege to work with such amazing quality, isn't it? I mean, we are very, very blessed.
So these are from Orkney, these ones?
Yeah, these are. And what I'll do is, some people don't season their scallops before they cook, but I like to give a little bit of seasoning. I'm using white pepper. And then all I'll do is I'll add some... We're going to start off with some oil. Yeah. And then I'm going to cook with butter.
I'll sort your sauce out, Chef.
Good. Sauce is looking good. Just a little bit more.
What I've done is just warm up this puree as well. You just want it just sat in the bottle. Just keep it warm. That's that.
Totally.
So that's that one done. OK.
Thank you for that. So what I've got is a really nice hot pan, which obviously you can tell is hot because my fingers sizzled.
I heard them sizzle then. Is that your...
So what I want to do is I'm going to regulate the heat in a minute. But
hold your finger up.
Yeah, we're going to correct my... thank you. So obviously, nothing better than cooking scallops with some butter. So for this, I want the nuttiness of the butter to contrast that lovely seaweed sauce. So what I've got in the pan now, I'm just going to add my butter, OK? And then that sauce is almost finished. So this
you done with this, or do you want a little bit more?
Yeah, we're done with that, actually. I'll cook off the scallops.
No problem.
Fantastic.
Smells good, man.
Yeah, I just, normally I just cook using oil, but the beurre noisette, the lovely nutty flavours you're going to get...
Because Jason is here now, you had a bit of butter.
It's just fantastic, yeah.
Well, you've got to have a little bit of butter in here.
So we're ready on that sauce in a minute. So
we mentioned your restaurants, but it was the training side of it. You worked with two amazing French chefs, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. I mean,
in younger years.
Our bases are really important. We're not seeing, our predecessors living for much longer. I mean, we've lost the Roos. Unfortunately, I work for Wazzo. He's not with us anymore. Yeah. Robichon's gone. Yeah. And the other influence, of course, is Raymond Blanc, who's still with us and doing a great job at the Quatre Saisons. So when you think about it, I was classically trained, but at the same time, I think that's not a bad thing. You've got those wonderful techniques from the past, which are still very much at the core of everything we do, mixed in with a bit of modern. So for this dish,
How perfect.
I mean, it's not 100 grams scallop.
That's good. That's beautiful, aren't they?
60, 80 grams scallop. The weight, I mean.
I know, and so just because I wanted to chat. I mean, look, I know that it's not for everybody caviar, but you know,
I don't mind.
Yeah, exactly. But it is a very decadent ingredient, and I know that perhaps people are saying it's It's
but tell us about the Exmoor one.
But this one I wanted to champion. So the sturgeon are being reared and farmed up on Exmoor, and then we've got this beautiful Savuga caviar here. It's very, very delicately salted using Cornish sieve salt. And then, and I'm just going to run that on there. I'm going to...
Want these in threes?
Before I do that, actually, James, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some... you've got some little herbs in there.
Oh, in the fridge, yep.
Yeah, if you just dress the herbs on top of the scallops. I couldn't leave the chefy thing, could I? I had to do it.
No, yeah, we love it, though, don't worry.
So I've got 3 little dots. We've got some little herbs, just that. Then we'll do two. The base of this, we'll sit them on top of this lovely celeriac and beautiful celeriac and seaweed. Yeah. And then now for the beautiful finishing of this sauce, I want to keep it moving. James did me these beautiful chives, so we'll put that in.
I love it. He's turned into a proper chef's mode. Look
at that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to... So now we've got our
Happy with that?
herbs, absolutely. I'll employ you, don't worry.
Well done, James. Well done. Well done, James. Actually, very impressed.
Thank you. Yeah.
And we're going to give 2 scallops per portion because I'm very generous.
2 or 3?
2. I'm going to have the others.
Pause.
No, joking. And look, I can see the camera crew really looking at this with envy.
Nothing for them, sorry.
They're having pizza. They're having pizza.
They're having pizza soon.
What's that at the end?
This is basil oil. So all I've done is taken basil, generally 20% basil to oil, and then all I've done is I've heated it 80 degrees, blended it, and then that's great looking at oil. And there we have it, our pan-roasted Orkney scallops with the seafood butter sauce with Exmoor caviar and celeriac and seaweed puree.
Cooked by the genius, which is Michael Caines.
Wow.
Cheers, chef. There you go, chef.
Wow.
Bon appetit.
Grazie.
What do you think of this?
That looks beautiful, Michael.
It looks amazing, doesn't it?
Has everyone left here?
Yeah. Very special treat.
Mamma mia, bravo.
It's delicious, isn't it?
Oh, my God. That caviar is also very good. But those scallops are just beautiful.
You get that sort of real rich sort of taste of the sea with the sauce. Beautifully balanced with the seaweed and the basil.
I said it all along. Really one of the best chefs in the world. He's a genius. Michael Caines, everybody. Right, Mr. Levi Roots will be taking over the kitchen duties very shortly. I'll be chatting some more with Emmerdale's Olivia Bromley at the end of the show. But I'll see you here back after the break when I'll be creating a little masterclass in how to cook a steak. I'll see you in a bit. Welcome back. Now we're celebrating 50 years, yes, 50 years of Emmerdale with Olivia Bromley a little bit later, and Chef Levi Roots will be dropping by the house. That's coming up next. But first, it's time for this week's little masterclass. And this week's masterclass is how to cook the perfect steak. And I don't know whether this is for you at home or the crew or everybody, to be honest with you, but we're going to serve it with Maître d'Hôtel butter, that classic butter that goes with steak. So the first thing, I've got some sirloin steak over here. Now, first thing you want to do is get the steak to room temperature, so never really out of the fridge. So what I mean by that, just take it out, leave it there for about sort of a good half an hour like that, let it come to room temperature. It's much, much better to cook. Next, we want a hot pan on the stove. Hot pan just means a nice smoking pan like that. Not too hot, but just hot. That's what we want. Definitely not at medium heat. Salt and pepper. I'm going to use some black pepper for this. Now, some chefs don't put black pepper on it until afterwards, but I was always taught to put it on like this. But also, the use of table salt. And you see the amount of salt that we're putting on it. Table salt. It's much more than you think. So, decent amount of salt over the top, salt and pepper. Then turn your attention to the oil. Now, I'm using a little bit of vegetable oil over here. You can use grapeseed oil, something like that. You want a sort of a natural, plain oil rather than an olive oil, which is just going to burn in the pan. So get the pan nice and hot like that. Take our steak straight in here, like that. Turn the heat, make sure it's consistent heat like that, nice and hot. Let's quickly wash my hands. While that's happening, we can turn our attention to our aromats. These are to increase the flavour of the steak. You can't just cook it plain like that. We're going to finish it traditionally with butter, as we do normally. But then you can turn your attention to a little bit of fresh thyme. You can put some garlic, a little bit of rosemary. It's entirely up to you. Now, some people just do a little bit of garlic or a combination of a bit of everything. So with the garlic, we're just going to keep the skin on, just crush it like that. The rosemary, you can just take a nice little sprig or two and put that on there. Now, you can concentrate on the steak. So I like to use a carving fork for this one. So what you want is this nice little colour. Now, when we get that colour, which that is, you can see we can turn that over now. Look, get this beautiful colour from it. And then we can add the aromats. So we've got the thyme, the garlic, that kind of stuff. We can start adding that to it. Now you can decide how you want the steak cooked. And you put your finger and thumb together like that. Make the OK sign. When you press this part of your hand like that, it's quite soft. When you press this part of the steak, again, it should be the same sort of density, same sort of texture. That is rare. When you start going down to the next part of your finger, moving it along, that is medium rare. Press this, medium rare. Next one, medium, as it starts to firm up. Next one, knackered, or well done. We don't want that. Oh, some people do want that, but I don't want it. So what we want is a nice bit of steak now. Now, this is where you can regulate the temperature a little bit. If you obviously have it full whack all the time, like that, particularly with a thicker bit of steak, like this one, it's sort of going to burn and not cook all the way through. You're just going to get it brown on the outside and not cooked all the way through. So we're just going to turn the temperature down a little bit. Now, this is the important bit, is when you add this bit, the butter side of it. And this is the classic way to finish off a steak, I have to say. So you start off with a little bit of butter, and we add some butter to this into your pan. Now you can see, now we finish this off the same in all the restaurants like this. And it's just when I was taught, whether you're taught in France, you know, to cook a steak properly like this is how you were taught, really. So then you can start to regulate the temperature a little bit. Now I've turned the pan up a little bit. You can get a spoon, and then you can see as the butter's starting to go nut brown, this is where you get the spoon and you start to nappe the butter over the top. Now look at this. This is where you get that classic sort of look to a restaurant steak. It's very, very simple, really simple to do, but what you're doing now is you're regulating the temperature. So if the butter starts to go too nut brown, which I can see it, you turn the pan down a little bit. So you've got colour on both sides, which I've got, but now I've got to make sure it's cooked. And I want to make sure it's cooked by just regulating the temperature, turn it up, turn it down, having that butter in there, and just keep basting it like that. And you've got all the flavour from the garlic, the thyme, the rosemary, all that kind of stuff in there. So just leave that ticking away nicely in there. Now, while that's happening, we can just leave it ticking away and turn my attention to a butter, Maître d'Hôtel butter. It starts off with parsley, lemon, butter, cayenne, a little bit of Henderson's or Worcester sauce. It's entirely up to you. But we're going to take a decent bit of parsley and pop that in there first. So you want to blend this up. So you're chopping it up first of all. That's what we want. So just plain parsley in here. Now keep your eye on the steak. You can see that now. Again, using the spoon. And you notice I've turned it over once. I've not kept turning it over. One thing you don't want to be doing is a steak. Don't keep messing around with it. Just let it sit in the pan like that, and you keep basting it. Now, I said if it's thinner steak from this is already going to be cooked. You'll have this out of the pan by now. But every time you test it, press it, finger and thumb. Press it. So it's rare, medium rare. You can just keep pressing it. That's how you can tell whether steak is cooked. Alternatively, you go around to my mother's, where it looks like the cat or the dog's just eating it, and she's just cooked 16 wedges out of it. Yeah, exactly. She's not going to cook me steak anymore, but look, you've got a nice little bit of steak. So what we can do is just You can actually turn the heat off if you wanted to and just let that sit there now. You can turn it back on and heat it up again. So we just get our butter. Now I've got some softened butter for this. Just a block of butter. Now the great thing about doing these flavoured butters, you can make them and pop them in the freezer or the fridge, and you can use them whenever you want. Particularly if once you've made it, you can cut it up into sort of pieces, into sort of pellets, as I call it. So a little bit of lemon zest, and lemon juice for this. So a nice squeeze of lemon juice as well in there. And then we use a bit of Henderson's or a little bit of Tabasco in there. Sorry, Worcester sauce in there. And then I've got some cayenne pepper. Nice little smidgen of cayenne pepper in there. Touch of black pepper and salt. All right. Now the panic with the steak really would be still, you think, oh, it's panicking, I'm just going to leave it like that. That's exactly how we want it. Like that, look. Get this beautiful colour. Now you can leave it to rest in the pan, or you can transfer it and put it onto a plate and let it rest. But you can see you've got a beautiful steak there. If you just leave it sat there like that, was fine. Leave it to rest. Roughly, however long it's cooked for, you half it, that's however long you want it to leave it to rest. We're just going to blend this all up now. So this is the softened butter, everything else. This classic butter to go with this. And one that goes brilliantly with fish as well if you wanted to. It's another one. Nice bit of roasted cod, a little bit of salmon it'll also work with. It's entirely up to you. But once you've got the butter like that, we'll then just go around, make sure we get the rest. There we go. Lid on. And go again. Make sure it's all blended nicely. Then what I like to use is a little bit of cling film. So just a touch of cling film, like that. And then you grab your butter. You can then take this out and pop it on here. So take the blade out as well. Clean it off of here. So like I said, you can do this with any sort of flavouring here. Red peppers. If you've got any little leftover tomatoes, you can blend those up. It's just a great way to make flavoured butters that go with anything. Vegetables. Really is delicious. Like that. And like I said, the great thing about this is once you've made it and rolled it, not only will it sit in the fridge, but it sits in the freezer. So we have loads of this that we make. So you just want to make it into a sort of a sausage shape, really. And while you're doing that, you roll it all up. The more cling film helps, to be honest with you, better. Once you get to that stage, we can trim that off, roll it up, and then to get that sausage shape, you can then twist the ends and twist and roll. Twist and roll, and you get this, it starts to firm up a bit, and you get this sort of sausage shape, which is what you want. Once you get to that stage, freeze it or put it in the fridge. I've got one. I've got in here. We can pay attention to our steak now. Like I said, you can either leave this out of here to rest, either in the pan, like that, but look, you can just leave it sat there. You've got these lovely, lovely aromats. And the temptation always with steak is to, you know, one thing you don't want to be doing with steak is actually serving it straight from the pan onto the plate. You just leave it to rest. And actually, almost like I said, you have it at room temperature. That's the sort of texture and temperature you want to eat it at, really. You certainly don't want it hot straight out of the pan. So once we get to that stage, we've got our plate. And turn our attention to our butter. So trim that off. Like that. Take all this lot off. So, like that. And the great thing about this, you can make these, you see. Chop it all up into pieces and then just take the individual pieces out rather than the whole roll once you've made it. But you see how much you get out of it, it's loads. Trim all that off there. So we've got our nice little bit of flavoured butter. We've got our steak. We can lift off our beautiful, beautiful bit of steak onto the plate like that. You can then get your butter. And the good way to do this is use your hot knife. So just warm your knife up. And then you can cut that straight in half. And then you can take little pieces like that. And then what you want is you take a couple of pieces. That was gonna do cooking for me then. I was gonna put 2 on, but 1 on. Now, rather than just serve it like this, what we do is a little chefy tip. You get a blowtorch. You do this under the grill. See how it melts that butter nicely? And then you can get yourself a little bit of watercress. It goes with it. And there you have it. What you can see now is then you carve it up. Your steak is beautifully cooked. Exactly how you want it. Medium rare, that's exactly how I wanted it. There you have it. Bon appetit. Done. Now, if there's anything you'd like to learn about Little Mouse Gus, then do get in touch with yourself and can help out right here on the show. Time now for a quick break now, but join me again in a couple of minutes when the legend that is Levi Roots will be here. I'll see you in a bit. Welcome back. Now, we'll be cooking another dish for Olivia Bromley later on in the show. But first, I'm here with a chef who became a household name when he slayed the dragons on Dragon's Den. It's the amazing Levi Roots. Do you know what, Levi? You are the happiest bloke I know.
Man,
the happiest man I know.
I'm here, guys. I've always had the best of times when I'm here, James. Trust me, it's amazing.
Right, what are you going to be doing for us?
Well, I'm going to go something special today. Last time I brought my A game, I'm going to bring my A+ game.
Okay,
this time.
right.
I'm doing my Puerto Rican chicken and rice. And it's amazing because, again, like I said, it's great to be doing something from the Caribbean, from one of the Caribbean islands that we don't all know. But I wanted to express Puerto Rican food and just find in a simple way that people here in the UK that perhaps can't find the annatto oil and the sofrito seasoning how to do it, and they want to do something and enjoy Puerto Rican cuisine. I thought that I'll come up with a version of how to do that. And to get around the annatto, all I've done is going to put some of this stuff in there, which is the turmeric, just to give it that color, because the annatto oil is what gives it that really lovely reddish color, and I thought that's going to be perfect. And for our sofrito seasoning, we're going to make that ourselves so that we know exactly.
So you start off with onions, do you, for this?
We start off with the onions, and I wanted you to come around and do a bit of a cutting for me.
I can do that.
You're going to come and do that for me.
I can chop it up and I can sit back down again. I can do that.
So if you chop that onions... and
slice it, or do you want to...
No, I want it sort of roughly chopped. Roughly chopped. And I think the first thing that's going to go in is create this fantastic flavor here using garlic and ginger.
Right.
The first step of our sofrito seasoning, and that we're just going to nice up the kitchen with a lovely...
Do you want the same with the peppers?
Yeah, peppers, not diced.
Sliced.
Very thick so that you can actually see them.
Seeds in or out?
Out, please.
Okay.
If you could. So
I can do that.
Get the...
Now, this year I got the opportunity to go to the Caribbean. What an amazing place. First of all, an amazing place because I think amazing people.
Yes.
People make a place. Great.
Absolutely.
But what an amazing selection of food. I mean, you just pull up in your car and there's people cooking fish and mahi-mahi by the side of the... I mean, the mahi-mahi in tinfoil, just with a little bit of lemon or lime.
Shoving it into your car for you. And absolutely amazing. And that's the good thing about the Caribbean, because the street food is absolutely wonderful, because people take a lot of care, because tourism is the main thing in the Caribbean, and everyone's got to know that if someone's going to come abroad and try your cuisine, it has to be right. It has to be good.
Well, there you go. I've chopped all that for you.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. And now we're going to sort of create the magic in the room. I always say that these two ingredients, ginger and garlic, creates that lovely... You know, when they say if you're going to sell a house, is to have the smell of coffee in the house. I always say, if you want to sell a house, have the taste of garlic and ginger together in the house. So, that's brilliant.
So what do you got? You put the onions in now?
Put the onions in once you've got the garlic and the ginger in, just to create that lovely first. Because I think layers is what the sofrito does. It layers the flavors, and this is what we're doing right now. Just fry off the onions.
I'll turn that one up for you.
Nicely,
I'll turn it up.
Give it a bit of a welly. Give it some welly. Okay. And And then again, I always have to have 1 and 2 of my favorite sort of secret ingredients that goes in there. You know,
well, this is the secret sauce ingredients, but go on.
Well, it's to merge the islands together, because we are in Puerto Rico with the traditional here now, chicken and rice. But I think it's important for me to have a bit of Jamaica in the dish.
It's the whole Caribbean food and eating together and being together. That is the essential part of Caribbean life.
Absolutely, because it's about the yard. And I think people have used that term of the yardie in a different way. But in the Caribbean, when you talk about the yard and yardie, it is about living together. And that's what it's about. And it's about sharing food, sharing recipes. Yeah. No one owns a recipe. Yeah. And as soon as you create something and you share it with everybody around you. And this is what I think Caribbean food is so amazing.
So what have you got in there? What are you doing?
I've got the Jamaican part of the recipe that I need to add in there. Even though this is not the Puerto Rican, they wouldn't have this in there. Yeah. But there's nothing wrong in adding a bit from my own island. And this is the allspice.
Yeah.
Or the pimento.
Now, I was doing a little bit of research. I say a little bit, but the research on you Google you, it just goes on forever. But well, isn't it right that you played football with Bob Marley?
Oh, man. You know...
I mean, how cool... Is that right?
Listen, when you have these moments in life, James, that, you know, you can name drop something like playing football with perhaps one of the greatest musicians in the world, it's something that you never get fed up of talking about. So, yes, it was brilliant. It was in Battersea Park. Marley was over here at the time. He had just signed his deal with Island Records. And he used to play regularly on a Sunday in Battersea Park. And actually, he had a great chef with him as well, too, because he had something called Ital food.
Right.
Ital. And Ital is the Rastaman or the Jamaican version of vegan food.
Mm-hmm.
So it was always nice to sit with him after the match, and he would have a few words, you know, to have a conversation with anybody who was there. So he was absolutely a great man, Bob Marley. Fantastic. So now we've got that going there, nice and lovely. For me, I would take that off. Yeah. That's how it is. Right, okay, now for the chicken, James. We're gonna brown off the chicken.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna add a little bit of oil to the pan. Yeah. And it's great that you've made your sofrito first, because that is the flavor there. That's what's going to nice up the rice. Because the good thing about this particular dish is that the rice and the chicken and everything is in one pot. And it's a lovely kind of family food. When you bring this pot to the table and you put it down, everyone digs in.
Little things I'm going to remember. Nice up the rice.
Nice up the rice.
I'm going to remember that.
Okay, cool. All right, so we got our chicken here. I mean, you can use any part of the chicken traditionally. You can. I mean, in Puerto Rico, they would just cut up a whole chicken and use any part of the chicken. Yeah. But here, leg and thighs for me is a good one to have, because
it's the Caribbean as well as the fish. It's the chicken, though, isn't it?
Yes, it's the chicken, and it's part of our daily life.
I've never seen so many chicken shacks. Chicken.
And then again, this is one of the reasons why I think it's important to express other parts of the Caribbean, because I think people always go for the jerk chicken because that's what you know. Yeah. But having something like a one pot, you know, Puerto Rican chicken.
You mentioned that yard mentality, that yard thing.
Yeah.
I remember you just walk along. The hotel was you walk along and you're going down the front, and everybody outside the front of their house, and you do get that family mentality, don't they? They're all in the porchways, and it's just. Everybody's very friendly, and it's really cool.
And that's the and people will invite you in, you know, and that's what it's about. I think that the music also adds that little bit of, I don't know, mystique to the Caribbean. A mixture everywhere in the Caribbean is a mixture of either Spanish, English, and African. So now what I've done is just season the chicken lightly. You don't need to really go mad on the season of the chicken, because the flavor you're gonna get is gonna come from the sofrito that you've made.
As well as since doing the sauce, you've written a stage play.
Yes, I have, which is absolutely brilliant. And I'll tell you, James, the last time I felt so excited about something.
How do you get to a stage where you're writing a stage play?
Well, actually, I'm actually doing my film, the Levi Roots movie. It's being filmed at the moment, which is fantastic. Some of the biggest producers in the country is producing the Levi Roots film. It's going to be a cinematic movie. My life couldn't all fit into the movie. Obviously, 45 years of music and food can't fit in an hour and a half. So I outtake the musical part of my career and wrote a stage play, a musical, about the musical part of my life. So that's absolutely amazing. So, okay, so we brown off the chicken like we are now. So don't cook it through, just give it a browning. And once you've done that, you can take it off and bring your pot back with your sofrito. That's over there. Now that's back in. Now we're gonna add our stock.
Just chicken stock?
Chicken stock. Goes in again. This is just to create this lovely flavor. One pot dishes are my absolute favorite.
So not only have you got a movie, you've got a stage musical, you're writing another book. Another book? Is this the pipeline?
I know, but it's a vegan book this time, and I'm really, really glad to be doing that. I've written 7 cookery books, 1 a year so far, and it was like every time I went to a publisher and says, look, I want to do a vegan book, a vegetarian book. I want to do an Ital book, because Ital is the Jamaican version of vegan.
Yeah.
But they always said, no, Levi, chicken, meat, and fish is perhaps the biggest seller. So finally, I got a publisher to approach me to do a vegan book, and it's just absolutely amazing. So I'm really
Well, we're going to get into the music in a minute while we get it. So.
All right, so let's get the chilies out.
Well, you got the rice and the chilies going.
The rice and the chilies. Let the chilies first. All right.
Right. What are these, first of all?
I brought you these special big ones. I know you had a few for me, but I brought these from Brixton Market because I wanted them to be really hot. I didn't know where you got yours from, but I know these are really hot. These are from South London. So I'm going to be putting these in. And as I said, the reasons why you don't put them in when you're creating the sofrito, because it gets too hot. I want flavors and not just eat. So I'm going to put them in now.
Right.
So, and I'm going to cut them with the seed, if I may.
Oh, yeah, we'll get even more heat in it. Why not?
He says, yeah, I can't wait for you to try it after.
So we touched on music, obviously been a big passion in your life. But you're still doing the radio? You're still
doing the radio every Thursday, which is amazing. Again, as I said, so inspirational, I've managed to merge music and food together and make a business out of it. Yeah. And now I'm sitting there playing my favorite reggae, ska, lovers rock, and rocksteady, and it's just so amazing. Absolutely fantastic. Right, here goes. This is your last chance to tell me no, Levi.
Well, go for it.
Go for it?
Go for it.
Are you sure?
Go for it.
You see? Yeah, it's going in. It's going in, James. Come on, man. Oh, my God. Exactly. Oh. Already the aroma is coming through.
Yeah.
It's death-defying. So, okay, so that's in nicely, bubbling away nicely.
Right.
Now, of course, I'm going to just got your rice in there, which you wash your rice a couple of times if you want to, because, again, it's important to wash the rice. Okay. Get rid of the starch, because if the starch is in there, it's going to become a bit too fat, and you don't really want that. So here you go. Put the rice in. You don't even have to stir it if you don't want. Just level it in.
Well, I'll clean up after you while you're putting the rice.
Please do. So, bung the rice in there, all over it, everywhere. That's nice and lovely. And don't stir, just sort of even out the rice so it gets fairly in between the chicken. Yeah. And all that lovely flavor is gonna absorb. Nice and lovely. And then you put all your fancy fandangles on top. I like not to chop the thyme because it looks nice when it comes out and it comes out of the oven. Because this, you can either cook it on the hob or put it in the oven. I never cook it on the hob because I love to see the chicken come back with the bun on top, which is the burned bits of chicken, which is looking nice and lovely. And as kids, you always go for the burned bits on top first. So just leave that to add a little bit more of the stock, the chicken stock, in there. And now, just to add a couple of bay leaves in there.
Yeah.
That's amazing. As the smile comes up when you're nearly done it, and it looks absolutely amazing.
We've got the chicken which has been cooking.
Yes.
So tell us how long that is cooked for?
40 minutes is a great way to put it in there for you, but just keep checking it. And once, 10 minutes before you get out, that's when you had your lovely olives in, your pitted olives in there just before it comes out. And once it's out and done, it should come out looking absolutely fabulicious.
Okay.
Like this.
This is the money shot. This is the money shot.
He hopes. Let's have a look.
Hey, look at that.
I love it when it turns out perfect. It doesn't all the time, but it has on this occasion. It does on this occasion.
There we go, look. We just take...
Amazing.
There's a spoon.
Yeah.
There you go, boss.
Yeah. Yes. Absolutely.
And I like that.
Amazing.
I like the brown bits on the top of the chicken.
Yes, and the rice is done really, really well. And you can see the reasons why it says you don't need the sofrito and the annatto in there, because you can make the color and the seasoning just by using your own stuff. And to me, that looks really Puerto Rican.
Well, I'll let you serve it. I'll let you serve it. Like you said, we've had a little insight in your little life story, so I'll let you put it in a bowl.
Yes, all right, let's do it.
It's amazing. We've had a little insight into your life story as well, which is fascinating. So we look forward to seeing it on screen, on stage, and everything else. But
thank you so much, James. Here you go, my man. I hope those chilies...
Do you serve it with lime or not?
Not really. Caribbean is not a place that puts lime and everything, and so I won't do it now because I think people watching will know that when they go to the Caribbean, they don't normally have limes.
So give us the name of this dish then.
This is the Puerto Rican chicken and rice, Levi Roots style.
Levi Roots, everybody. Right, Levi, I'm looking forward to tasting this, so I'll let you go out of the pot.
Listen, I gotta say, there's no fire engine outside, and I'm not insured for this chili. I hasten to hand to you there, James.
Well, I've filled my wine up ready, so...
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah. I think you can take it. You're a big boy. Come on, let's do this. Oh, yeah. Wow. That's amazing.
It's hot, but it's... But it's nice, though. Do you know what I mean? Are the other spices in there? Yeah.
Now the flavors.
Now you get the hit of chili.
Yeah,
you get quite a lot of
it. I warned you.
It is quite warm. You've just put two...
We're in the Caribbean right now, you know, James. That's where we are at.
Yeah. Well, you're in Brixton with the chilies, but yeah. But yeah, you're certainly in the Caribbean. That is tasty as. It's, you know, and I've tasted a lot of this on the trip that I've just done. But that top trumps anything that I've tasted. It's brilliant. It absolutely does. And what a true gent he is as well. Levi Roots, everybody. Fantastic. Right, you're going to be hanging around as well throughout the rest of the day as well. For the rest of the show as well. We'll reduce the chili down on my dishes. But we've still got time for one more final course, so join us again after the break, when I'll be back behind the very hobs that we stood on here for a show-stopping chicken dish of my very own for Olivia Bromley. I'll see you in a bit. Welcome back to the last part of the show. But I'm back in the kitchen with my brilliant guests. It's Emmerdale's Olivia Bromley and Mr. Levi Roots. So we're going to do... I thought chicken. You're a big lover of chicken, I know. So I thought we'd do some... but you're a big lover of this sort of Moroccan-y sort of flavours, aren't you, really?
Yeah.
So I thought we'd do sort of this sort of style salad, really simple, with pomegranate and lots of herbs, lots of colour, lots of vibrant colours. And then I thought we'd do that with a spatchcock chicken. So we'll start off with here. So we take our spatchcock chicken, easy to do. What this does is half the cooking time. So you start off with the chicken like that, and then the parson's nose bit, hold that, and then you use a pair of scissors, and you cut down the side, through there, all the way down this side, like to there. Do the same thing the other side, cut right the way through it. You're only cutting about 1 centimetre, that's what you want. You don't waste anything, straight the way through there, like that. And then move this, that's that out of the way. Then, all we do with this, to make spatchcock chicken, you turn it over, open it out, press it, and you've now got spatchcock chicken. Voila. So you've half the cooking time down. Then with a knife, so use a real sharp knife for this, then you want to score this all in. And when you're scoring it, rather than just do the little lines on the top, I mean really deep scores right over the top, like that. That goes straight in here. Now, I can see you looking, Olivia, like enthusiastic. I'm surprised you get time to cook, though, really, with the amount of work that you've got to do on that show.
Yeah, I know, actually. I mean, especially when you're filming, quite often you're on your own, so it's hard to have the motivation to cook really nice things, for one, and I think like that's the difficulty when you're moving around and filming, but this is lovely to see.
Well, the key to this is the spices. That I know a gentleman next to you likes his spices as well. So we've got some za'atar, we've got some little bit of chili flakes, oregano, thyme, a little bit of cumin, that all goes in here, just to mix and match.
Yeah, that's the business right there, the seasoning.
Exactly.
That's what you're
And then we're going to
talking
take some yogurt. Just mix all this lot together. A little bit of yogurt. You can put things like honey and stuff in here, but I'm just going to mix all that in. Then what you can do is take this, and because you made these big cuts in here, you can then spread this all over the top of the chicken, like that. That goes in. And then the liquid form, we use 2 tins of tomatoes. That can go on there. And then I've got some lovely little herbs. I've got some fresh thyme, some fresh oregano over the top of that, and we can just sprinkle this over the top of there. Now, this is a fair cry away. In fact, Emmerdale's a fair cry away from where you were brought up as a young kid.
Yeah.
Japan.
Yeah, I lived there.
How do your parents end up in Japan?
Well, I was there till I was 3 and they were there for 10 years. So my dad was working in tennis, he was a tennis coach, and my mum was working at a university there. So, yeah, I suppose I used to blabber away in Japanese with my first kind of language, really, which is weird.
Tennis wasn't the thing that you wanted to do? Was it a thing that your parents wanted to do, or you just thought, no, this is not for me?
No, it wasn't for me. I did used to play, but no, it wasn't for me. But, I mean, I was talking to my mum about it because she was saying it's quite interesting cooking-wise with the fact that we didn't have an oven. But, yeah, so, I mean, I suppose a lot of it was kind of very fresh cooking on hobs and not a lot of roasting, so...
Yeah.
And then, like, a rice cooker, like we were talking about and stuff,
So tell me about this, I mean, 50 years celebrating Emmerdale.
Yes.
I mean, that is some milestone for any programme, you know. I mean,
Yeah.
I've been doing Saturday mornings 16 years, something
Yeah.
like that. Well, you mentioned the fact that when you started, you were only supposed to be on it for sort of 12 weeks. I was only supposed to be doing this for 6 weeks. That's it. We both, you know, both gone on and on and on and on and on. But doing stuff like that, I mean, the whole cast must get behind you, but at 50 years, the storyline of this one must be incredible.
Yeah, I mean, every October, usually we have this thing called Super Soap Week, which is like a big stunt week. I think all the soaps have one, and it's like a kind of big competition among soaps to be most dramatic and stuff. But this year, obviously, we've got the 50th, so it's massive, and it's very soapy and very dramatic, and we've got some crazy stunts, and it's been really fun.
And how do you find that for somebody that, you know, this is your first acting job, really, isn't it, really? That's the thing. You know, how do you find that? Because I've been chatting to Adam Woodyatt at all these festivals, and I was chatting to him and said, you know, do you get frightened you get typecasted? But I guess, you know, there's a fine line between that and having a regular job and being in a successful show, isn't it, really?
Exactly, and I think with soap, because it moves so fast, and I mean, often we're doing like 9 or 10 scenes a day, and if you're in a really big storyline, you can be doing one crazy thing, you know, a murder one day, and you can have an affair the next day or whatever. So you're being tested quite a lot, but for me, it's been really good training just in terms of like cameras and the technicality of television work and stuff. So it's a really, really good, fast experience.
But nothing teaches you for real life in terms of, you know, I remember when I started doing television and bits and pieces, and I remember you're pausing it on CFAX for the recipes. That's how long I've been doing it. But for you, you know, that realism, you know, your storyline, you're in people's living rooms.
Yeah.
You are acting. It's not you. You know, and particularly when the storylines that you're playing, you know, sometimes people, they can't differentiate between you and the story, you know?
Yeah, I think that's a very particular thing about soap, because you are in people's lives every day, and I suppose the longer you're in it, people think that you are the character. There can be a bit of confusion, and people think they know you, but it's quite nice. People come up in the supermarket and stuff and say hi, and...
No, do you know what the best thing is, Levi? The best thing is, as a chef, what you do in a supermarket is... I play this all the time. Well, not all the time.
Got to buy food, haven't you?
No, Levi, it's great. What you do is you wait until somebody's there, and they're in the supermarket. Say you've got a pepper like this, and you've got it there, and there's a bowl of nice peppers like this, and you're walking along like this, and the people are just checking it, and they're smelling it, doing this, and then they gradually get about 5 or 6 like this. What you do is you come along next to them, go, nah, it's not good enough. You can see him putting them all back on the shelf. Emptying the bags again. You can't do that, you see. Exactly. But look, we're just going to take our nice little salad. So this is your cucumber. I've got my tomatoes. I've got my peppers. You can see all this wonderful, wonderful little colour in here. All this lot mixed together. I've got some chickpeas going in here as well. We've got pomegranate seeds going in there as well. And then you've got herbs. And the thing about, I think, all these type of salads from that part of the world is you've got herbs. You've got mint, you've got coriander, particularly you've got, you know, parsley, all that kind of stuff. You're bulking and bulking out all these amazing flavours from it as well. You just chop them all up as well.
That's a lot of herbs there.
Yeah, a lot.
Sorry?
That's a lot of herbs there.
Well, you know, a lot of herbs, you know what I mean? You put them all in like that. But this is what I love. I love this dressing. So it's a little bit of white wine vinegar in there. You need quite a bit. So a lot. Well, there's quite a lot of dressing.
Quite a bit, yeah.
Quite a lot of white wine vinegar. A little bit of olive oil. There we go. And then this.
A little bit of olive oil. Did you see that?
Like, oh, that's a glug, yeah.
A little bit of more olive oil. And then this pomegranate molasses.
Oh, I love that.
Oh,
You must use this. Yeah?
No, that's allowed.
Yeah, that's allowed. All right. So a little bit of that goes in here. Salt, pepper. Mix this all together. And then you've got your dressing all over the top of here. And then we can really get our hands in here and mix all this lot together, because this is what it's all about. You see, with the herbs, this is where you get this beautiful colour, you see?
Yeah, that's
So you
amazing.
get,
Love when you get your hands in there. That's the proper thing.
that's when you get your nice bit of colour. And then the chicken, once about sort of 45 minutes to an hour. If you are going to do it and not spatchcock it, it needs a little bit longer, probably about an hour and 10 minutes. But we can take our nice little salad like that. Now, I've done enough for two of you.
That's funny.
That's it. But look at the colours. This is
amazing.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
See, that's the herbs, you see?
Yeah.
You need, you know, it's no good doing things by half. That's that one. And then finally, we've got our chicken, which... So you lift this out. And this goes on there. Look.
Wow,
lovely.
hot.
Look at that.
Amazing.
And then grab your spatula, spoon, that kind of stuff. We can then lift this out.
That chicken looks well chilled. Yeah,
Well chilled, look.
Chilled out and ready.
And we can just pop that on top of there. And then you can spoon this lovely little sauce around it and go with it. And there we have it. That's my last dish of today. And I want to say welcome to the house. Thank you both for coming as well.
Thank you for feeding us.
Best of luck for the 50th anniversary. You'll hear more about it on ITV, I'm sure, throughout the rest of the year. But good luck with everything. And I'll see you for the 60th anniversary, because you'll still be in it. Exactly. But there you have it, my sort of chicken with tomatoes and a wonderful, colourful pomegranate little salad. Easy as that.
Nice.
So. Right, I'll carve a little bit off here. I know that, Levi, you got your eye on those crispy bits.
I have indeed, yeah.
Crispy bits of
Caribbean,
chicken.
we call it the bonbon.
The bonbon?
Bonbon, yeah.
Is that what you call it?
Yeah, yeah. Love it.
The crispy bits. So I'll put that down, and then you can fight for it over here. But there you have it.
Fantastic. Thank you.
There you go. Have a taste of the salad and everything else.
Yum. Thank you.
The chicken, go for the bonbon.
Yeah.
Looks so beautiful.
It's nice, isn't it?
So colourful, yeah.
And with I think with the pomegranate and everything else, pomegranate and the vinegar.
I'm going straight for the bonbon
I'm going to
here.
go for the salad first.
The salad is ace.
Oh, God, I'm spoiled.
Straight in for the bonbon.
Straight in for me. It reminds me as a kid, we always ate that part of the chicken first.
Nice, huh? Delicious.
Delicious.
Happy with that?
The herbs are amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
He's on it as well. Great stuff. That's it. That's all we've got time for today, sadly. A massive thank you to all my guests, Francesca Mazzei, Levi Roots, Michael Keynes, and, of course, Olivia Bromley. We'll see you back here at the same time next Saturday morning, when we'll be joined by more great chefs, other brilliant guests. Until then, take care, stay safe. Thanks for watching, everybody. Bye for now. And before we go, Giuseppe's outside making pizzas for the whole crew. 16 quid each, 16 quid each.
Very good.